Hello and welcome to episode 11 of TreeWalker's Twigs. Um, so I'll just come out and say this right away. I was sitting there and I had one already all typed up that I was going to say and bullet points and all that stuff, but it just didn't feel like it was right tonight. And I don't know. I'm not sure what it is I want to talk about because it just didn't feel right to talk about. It was actually about the weather and stuff and how to find motivation in the weather, but I don't know. So I don't know if someone out there needs to hear something special, and I'm not sure what it is. Maybe you need some strength to get through something because there's a story from when I was younger that has come to mind. And I can't even tell you what age I would have been for this. Maybe fifth grade, summer of fifth grade. I think it would have been the summer after fifth grade, I think. But I rode my bike everywhere. We lived about a mile and a half outside of a small town I grew up in. And so I would ride my bike uptown, ride it all around town, and then ride it home at the end of the night or afternoon, whenever I was done. Well, on this day, I was riding, and I get past some of my friend's house onto the north-south road that runs by my house. And you have a house at the corner of the, head of the mile. And then you go a little ways, and then you have a creek and another house. And then it was probably 3/4 of a mile to my house, and there's nothing but fields in between. Just paint the picture for you there. I'm actually visually doing it in my head. And, to carry things, you have to have a backpack, right? When you're on a bike, because you don't want to try to carry stuff. Well, for some stupid reason, I had the backpack only on my one shoulder, not on the other shoulder. Stupidity, I don't know what it was, but I was hitting a little bit of uphill. So I stood up to, pound those pedals like you would do. So you can get up some speed, and then you kind of let it coast a while. Well, I got up to speed, and just as I did, my backpack slid off of my shoulder, slid down my arm, lodged itself in the front tire. It threw me from the bike, and I landed on my left shoulder and left temple and slid along the road. Now, first thing that hit me was my head was pounding. Second thing was my vision slowly became red as the blood from the wound I'd put on my temple bled into my eyes because it was bleeding profusely. And in that moment, that crisis, moment of truth, I stood there for a second and I thought, okay, do I ride the rest of the way home? Because I was almost halfway between everything. Do I ride the rest of the way home? Or do I turn around and go to town where there's people who could probably help me? And right then and there, I am certain, I'm going to die. If I don't find help, I'm going to die. I don't think that would have happened looking back, but, it might not have been pretty. Well, to my sister's glee and joy, because she was the only one home and probably would have traumatized her, I had turned and went back to town. I stopped at the first house, and I am certain bled all over the door, and I don't know this day if they knew what caused that, but I rang their doorbell, nobody came, so I got back on my bike and started off, and just then my neighbors came up the road as they were heading the same way I would have been heading on my bike. They were in their truck, and they saw me, and they grabbed me, threw the bike into the back of the truck, threw me into the truck, and their friend, like I said, this was a different time. My friend, who was my age, he jumped in the back of the truck, too, to give us room in the bench seat. And he asked me, the dad asked me, do you want to go uptown to the doctor, or do you want to go to the ER? And that was the last thing I heard. I passed out. Now, when I woke up, my parents had owned a bulk food store back then. And they had took me up there, knowing that one of my parents would be there. My dad was there. And like I said, I don't remember any of it. So I guess I've never really asked. I would have thought if I was passed out, my dad would have rushed me right somewhere. So the next thing I remembered was I was sitting on the couch we had in the back of the store, and he was trying to wipe blood off of my sweatshirt. Great day to wear a white sweatshirt it was. and pain was coming up. And I told him, I said, Dad, my shoulder. And he took my shirt off and could see I took the skin off my shoulder. And like I said, it's weird because I guess I've never even asked. That never occurred to me. If I was awake and my brain just kind of shut down or what, to keep the trauma. And then he took me over to the local doctor, because back then we had local doctors and town doctors. And he cleaned me up, and then he asked me if I needed stitches in my head. And he wanted to know if I wanted numbing solution, I said, well, what's the numbing? He says, well, I'll give you about, 4 to 6 shots around the area, and then it'll make it numb. And I said, well, what do you do if I don't? He says, well, I'm going to put in a few stitches so you'll get 4 to 6 pokes, and then it'll pull tight. I'm like, well, why do I want to get, spend the money or whatever? I guess I didn't think of spending the money, but why would I want to get double poked? So I told him just to stitch it up. So it was a weird feeling. The weirdest part was he put it in, then when he tightened it, my whole forehead just seemed like it drew tight. I remember that to this day. And then it was healing, a lot of time healing. But the reason I share this, and like I said, it came to me that maybe I should share this, and maybe someone's doing it. When you think you're in your darkest hour, when you think that it can't get worse and nothing can, you're not going to come out of it. Well, you've got it in you. It just sometimes it takes those moments to prove it to you. But you've got the drive, and you've got the power inside of you. You just have to release it to get you through whatever you have to get through. And once you're through it, then you can, go back and count your blessings that you're still alive or whatever. But I believe all of my listeners, the people I know, they have it in them. They can get through whatever. I don't know if this is the feeling I'm getting is to a certain member or not, but if it is, you've got this. I know if it's the one I'm talking about, I'm not going to name the person, but they've been struggling with illness for a long time, and I just want them to know you've got it. If it's you that I'm supposed to be giving this message, you've got it. You've got it inside of you. You're awesome, dude. You got it. All right. So, whoever needed to hear that, I hope it reaches you. I hope it touches you. It makes you think, wow, I can do it. Because that's what I want. I want to see you do good. I want to see it work. So, thanks for joining me. I hope to see you on the next one.